Welcome to the very first episode of Tech Talk. I'm your host, Nadirah Nazeer. I am very humble and appreciative for this great opportunity to bring you a variety of shows. Today's guest is someone that I'm very proud to call a friend, the Honorable Consiglio de Nino. Con Nino is an immigrant of this country. He has more than 5 decades of senior executive position, owner, founder, and CEO of his own bank, Cabot Trust Company. Extensive experience in financial sector for 37 years, served in the Senate from 1990 to 2012, that's 21 years, and part of various boards and charities and community affairs. He is chairman for Harborfront Corporation, president of the Canadian-Italian Business and Professional Association, president of the Scout Canada of Greater Toronto Regions, and the list goes on. Welcome, Con.
Thank you.
I have to tell you though, first thing is when I grow up, I want to be you.
You want to be me when you grow up?
Yeah.
Well, you're grown up already.
Well, not quite, not quite. I want to have all the
quite
accolades.
To the same age.
Yes, I want to have all the accolades you do.
Thank you.
So tell me about your journey. So you came to Canada at the age of 13 with your parents. Why Canada?
Well, first of all, let me say it's really an honor to be your first guest. Yes, we have been friends, good friends for some decades now, so that means you really were a very young child when we first met, and it's a delight to be here with you. I certainly think I have a little story that may be of interest to your audience. After the Second World War, which, as you know, created a lot of pain, a lot of issues for a lot of countries, my father was a prisoner of war for 10 years, and indeed he left the year I was born, and I never saw him until I was 10 years old. And his I guess the pain that he went through and the effect that war has on people, he decided that he was going to bring his only child, bring him up in a country that would have peace. And I think he applied to Australia, certainly he applied to Canada, and Canada accepted us through the sponsorship of one of my uncles who was here at the time. And that was in 1951. It was really a decision by my mom and dad to move to a country where probably war would not occur, at least not during a lifetime, and they were right.
Excellent, excellent. So you've had an extensive career from banking to Senate. So tell us a little bit about your transition from the financial industry to political.
It's very interesting. We, a group of us, and I say that I was certainly the CEO and the only CEO of Cabot Trust Company, but I had shareholders, I had partners who helped me at least financially, but in many other ways they helped me with their experiences and their knowledge and skills to build what particularly one of the major companies in Canada thought was a very valuable asset. So after about 13 years of operation, we had an offer from a major Canadian company, and the offer was, in my opinion, ridiculously high. They paid a lot of money for our company, and we felt that it was appropriate for us to cash in our chip. So we sold it to another organization, and in effect we're looking forward to something new. Then I got a phone call. Brian Mulroney phoned me up. And long story short, he says, "You've got enough money, come and help me run my country." And I said, that's not a bad idea. We can still do things, I guess. So I accepted Brian Mulroney's offer to, in effect, come and serve Canada in the Senate. And I was there for, as you said, 21 years.
So Con, you had a very beautiful story, successful story, from immigrant to financials to government to a lot of non-charitable organizations. For all these new immigrants that's coming to the country, what are your advice to them?
The first and most important advice is feel your way around. Come here and learn who and what Canadians are. Make sure that you come in as a guest because this is what we are when we come to this country, and appreciate the fact that we've been given an opportunity, because it's our choice. We've asked for this. We weren't asked to come to Canada. We asked Canada to accept us. So I think you know, too many immigrants come here with the idea, oh great, I'm here and I'm going to do all of this, and they don't really look at, can I do this? Should I do this? What are the rules of this country? What are the customs of this country? I didn't come here to be an Italian. I came here as a future Canadian. So we learned, first of all, that we weren't wanted at that time, and many other groups of people that come don't have a feeling of being welcomed. And that's part of the process. It's a way to give you an opportunity to let the people know who you are, but you have to first learn who they are. What sort of rules do they have? What do I need to be able to be accepted? It isn't they should accept me, I should accept them first. I think that's the first and most important part of starting to become a Canadian. But you have to come here to want to become a Canadian. You can't come here to want to continue to be an Italian.
I agree with you, and I do want to continue down that path of integrations and mishap. So we're going to take a short break, and we'll be right back. Welcome back. So what we want to do is continue talking about integration in Canada, which I believe is a very, very important piece. Myself, as an immigrant, you have to embrace what Canada has to offer, because that's the only way that you enjoy the beauty of all this great thing that Canada has to offer. So Con, what are your key, first of all, let's talk about some of the mishaps. Then we can talk about the integrations. So what are the mishaps that you've had in the past decade that you wish somebody have told you not to do? Or if you look back, you say, you know what, I would have rather avoided that and do it differently.
It's probably mainly to do with people relationships. And it goes back to what I said a little while ago. If I don't understand the customs, the rules of the game, I will sometimes break those rules unintentionally, and it's mainly unintentionally. I cannot really say that I had major mishaps during my life in Canada, and it's been mostly in Canada, as you know. But I've had incidents of embarrassment or not understanding. I have taken some action or gone someplace without permission or authority. But I think that's really all. Canadians are very accommodating. There's a few all over the world. And they don't expect you to become Canadian on day one, but they do expect you to be cognizant and aware of the fact that they want you to be part of what they are. Having said that, as you do that, you bring a different flavor. You bring different methods of doing things. You want to help a child, and you'll help a child. You maybe go a little further than they normally would have in a different way. And also how you accept society, how you behave in society, the way you dress, the food you eat, the customs that you have. You don't abandon them. And what happens is, as these things start to be part of your life, you integrate them. And as you know, Canada of today is not Canada it was 60 years ago. Things have changed, and the integration isn't only to totally accept what you find, but if you think you have a better way of doing it, or if you think there is something you can contribute to enhance that experience, that's what creates the future culture of the country, in effect. Mishaps, if you come with the idea of respect, if you come with the idea of acknowledging, learning, watch, listen before you speak, you will automatically start to integrate. It's like going into somebody else's house. they have some rules. If you go into somebody else's house and you act as if it's your own, you're going to probably not make the owners happy. We're here, we've been invited, and we've been asked to build a country together. And I think that's really the main message. There's all little things along the way, but the main message really has to be that you have to come, learn, accept, and then contribute. And as you contribute, you actually start to see the changes that are taking place. And the changes that the other groups of new Canadians have contributed. The Canada of 2018 is not the Canada of 1955.
Absolutely.
When I came to this country. So let's not make it difficult. It's not. There's really a very simple message to the audience, and it's come, learn, accept, contribute, and it'll start to fuse.
So I like your analogy that you just said. It's like being a guest in someone's house. You can't just set your own rules. You need to learn the rules. You need to learn how they do things. And then slowly you kind of infuse who you are in it. So what I've noticed, again, from my own culture, my own background, they also tend to stay within their own. And I'm sure you've had that experience too within the Italian community or Portuguese community, any of those communities. It's beautiful to see in Canada that you can go to different town and experience different kind of food and community. Unfortunately, sometimes what I see is that also the people kind of sticking to what they know and who they are instead of expanding. So what's your thought and your advice because it's two generations, right? The parents that I just first came to Canada, they're struggling to put food on the table. They're learning English, so it's different for them, right? So they're looking for support system within what they know. But the new generations, I find, if parents are encouraging them, they are getting out there. They are becoming more Canadian and embracing this country. So what's your thought on that?
Two sides to that story.
Okay.
The side from the immigrants part. You come to this country, most don't speak the language. Most don't understand the customs. Most don't know the rules. It is comfort that they're looking for. So to stick together during that first generation, if you wish, which can last a few years and sometimes a little longer, I think it's necessary for all new Canadians to be allowed to do that. But it can't be something that becomes a permanent. It's got to be something that you're working towards. I think most communities in this country, pretty well all communities in this country, once the second generation develops, you will start to make friends from different communities. You will start to go to school with a different bunch of people, and you'll all of a sudden see that we're all the same. We weren't born the same, but the rules, regulations, rights, and freedoms, they all apply equally to me as they apply to somebody who was born here. And you start to learn and make your contribution, which will add some value. What I also find truly amazing in this country, the intermarriages. It is fantastic, all different colors. I married an Anglo-Saxon. My son is married to a Trinidadian. My daughter to a French Canadian. I mean, this is what Canada's all about. And as I say, what the previous generations have reached a point now, we're starting to define a culture, a Canadian culture, which is quite unique in the world, in that it's not mainly Anglo or mainly French or mainly Anglo and French. It's not mainly indigenous, or it's now the indigenous communities, the French original communities, the English original communities, and the Italians and the Germans and the Greeks and the Indians and the Chinese. And that is, in my belief, and I said this in the Senate, we should be very proud of what we're doing because the world is watching us. We're probably very unique in this country in that we have a culture and a bunch of customs. There are really a combination of all of those that have come here and have been here for 2 or 3 generations. It can't happen on the first day. It can't happen as much for the first generation, but we should be striving to achieve that. Learn, understand, respect, contribute, and we grow together.
So let me ask you this question then. Do you feel that the government fabric landscape represent who Canada is today?
I think so. I think so. I have some problems with politicians who, unfortunately, sometimes don't look wide enough. They don't open their eyes wide enough. Politics is about getting elected, and sometimes that gets in the way. But it's very small, and it's not really a major component of in society. We're seeing something today in the Conservative Party, which is my party, and as you know, I've been a member of that party for 5 decades. But it's the differences of opinion, and we'll work them out. We'll work them out as part of the family. But otherwise, it's like a miracle that happens, and it's a miracle of understanding and accepting that humanity is one and the same. We may have, because of where we grew up or the area that we live in, have some different customs and different language, but down deep inside, we're all the same.
Thank you, Con. And on that note, we're going to be right back. We're going to take a short break. Thank you. Welcome back. What we'd like to talk to Con about is regarding his success. Con, you had great success coming in this country. Is this normal, or is it something that anybody can achieve?
The opportunities available in this country are probably unique in the world. Firstly, this country is now a country of immigrants. When I came, it was mainly a country of English and French. But let's not forget the Aboriginals. They were here, the indigenous community were here. And that's an issue that someday we won't talk about, because I have great sympathy for them. But there are no limits other than the limits that one places on themselves. The only thing is, success doesn't come by itself. It's not like winning a lottery. You have to work at it. You have to be able to understand what you want to do, think about how you're going to achieve it, and then work like hell to make it happen. I get so upset when people say, well, I can't do this. Of course you can. If I can do it, you can do it.
Let me ask you this. Do you believe there's an equal opportunity here for everybody, regardless of gender, of race, of age?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Do all of us have equal opportunities? I think all of us have equal opportunities or equal disopportunities, in the sense that if there are roadblocks, it's not because of your gender. Well, gender maybe is a little bit, but it's changing. But it's not because of your ethnic background or your religion. It's because a group of people will, from different backgrounds, will say, well, no, we won't let anybody in, so it'll be a lot tougher to get in. But I have not witnessed a problem in doing what you want to do because of your race, color, or creed.
So what will be your key advice to the new generation's immigrant that's in the country today? How do they ensure that they can succeed the same way you have and have that same opportunities?
It doesn't come easy. It comes with a lot of work. I say successful people have certain traits which are similar. One is, there's no such thing as 9 to 5. There's no such thing as the weekend I don't work. You work 24 hours a day. You sleep when you can. You have to work very hard, but you also have to work smart. Learn the business. If you want to, open up a Tim Hortons, go there and serve coffee. Find out what the business is about. Raise a little money, and once you know how it works, once you have an idea how it operates, you can go there even without an education. An education is very important. So as much as possible, But we waste so much time. You should be learning every day. Education and learning are not quite the same. Education is when you go to school generally. Learning is a lifelong commitment. Take a risk. Make sure that you analyze and understand what it is that you're doing, because the roadblocks are roadblocks you put for yourself rather than roadblocks from the community. There are competitive roadblocks, but that's what makes things interesting.
It's a healthy to be competitive.
Absolutely.
Right? So what I'm hearing you say is that hard work. Don't put any restrictions of yourself. Don't say things like, you know what, it's not my job, or it's the weekend, or it's the holiday. Do whatever it takes. But for a new person, especially when you look at the millennial generations, it's a different generations. It's a different mentality. When you say that to them, it's also a me generation. I know you're smiling and laughing. It is a me generation.
But this is what you have to avoid. You asked me as it relates to immigrants. But to a certain degree, it relates to everybody. The number of people who have succeeded, that others may say, how did he do that? Wow, she was very good at that. It's not related to race, color, or creed, or background. It's the ability of the individual. And most of it has got to do with confidence. I can do it. Overconfident will destroy you. Smart confident is analytical, research, work very hard. You need to have some capital. You really can't start anything without capital. When somebody said to me, how are you going to beat the Royal Bank of Canada? You're starting a little company called Cabot Trust. And I said, I don't want to beat the Royal Bank of Canada. I just want to beat the branch of the Royal Bank of Canada where I'm going to be across the street from. That's, I'm not going to beat the Royal Bank of Canada. And Cabot Trust became a very successful company, but many others have done the same thing. This isn't Nino. Take a look at the history. And truthfully, if you look now, the immigrant communities are maybe wealthier than the original communities.
I agree with you. And what I hear is persistence. You have to have a lot of persistence, and you have to keep trying when you're failing.
That's not a good word.
And I feel that, I know that the new immigrant coming into the country, especially the parents, they're working very, very hard. They're really trying. The kids that have been raised here has probably a different mentality. But the kids that are coming as an immigrant, I do see them working very hard and have a lot of patience and will do whatever it takes. And I like what you said about you were taking baby steps. You're not trying to take over the Royal Bank, just trying to compete with the one across the street. It's that mentality of most people just want things fast, right? They're trying to run the race and they don't even know how to crawl. What I think personally is that you need to crawl, you need to learn how to stand up, you need to walk, take baby steps, and then you start running. It's the same analogy, kind of your experience of what should be done.
I have no disagreement with that, and I think it's worth repeating that it's there if you want it strong enough, and you're prepared to work hard enough to be able to achieve it. I've always said I may not be the top of the game, but I can beat most of them, or at least be in the game successfully. To be at the top of the game requires a lot of things happening, and in some cases, without planning, opportunities. You have to recognize an opportunity. There's a saying that goes, opportunity knocks. I say opportunity doesn't knock. It's there every day of your life. It's in front of your eyes. You have to be able to recognize that there's an opportunity there. Then you have to have the courage to say, maybe I'll take a crack at this.
So in this, where we are today in Canada, you still strongly believe that's still a big land of opportunity for everybody?
Probably one of the best in the world. But the point I was trying to make at the beginning, so that we understand, because I don't want to tell people to run a business. The point I was trying to make is, do not come to this country. Don't think that coming to this country you're a second-class citizen. The people of this country will allow you to participate. There are no restrictions. There are many countries in the world where there are restrictions, where you will never be able to achieve any success anywhere. In this country, you have pretty well an equal opportunity to those who are here, and you can compete and you can achieve success. That is the main point I want to make. This is about immigration. Immigrants should never feel like second-class citizens.
And keep trying.
Keep trying,
pushing,
keep working. Absolutely.
Persistence. I think persistence is the key, right? You have to be persistent, because I find a lot of people just give up very easily.
Well, I totally agree with you, but you also have to be smart enough when you've hit a roadblock, and you have to make a U-turn or go around the corner. And this is where working smart, understanding the market that you're in, understanding your competition, but more important, look forward to tomorrow. What's happening? As an example, would I start another trust company today? I don't think so, because technology has changed this world. There are industries that are much more of the future than today, and that's where I would be looking at. And I'll give you one very silly example. I am an angel investor in a little company in the drone business, right? And I was approached by these two fellows I know, and I said, first of all, because they're good people, and I would put a few bucks with them. But I also looked at where the transportation industry is going for the next 100 years. And I think the drones are going to surprise the world at how effective they're going to be in the transportation industry. So this is the kind of thing I'm talking about. If I was opening up a Tim Hortons, I would do away with cash. Cash is an awful thing. First of all, it costs money to handle. Secondly, it's easily lost. I would make my store totally cashless.
So let me ask you this. You said your next venture is drone.
No, I said I have invested with a group of people who I know could do this because they understand the business. I am an angel investor, means I put in a little bit of money at the beginning when they didn't have any money. They needed enough money to start this particular.
Where do you see the drone business going?
I think it's going to be the business of transportation for the future.
So Khan, tell us about your relationship with India.
One of my favorite countries. It really started in 1988 when my wife, who is unfortunately in heaven now, decided to volunteer with Mother Teresa in Calcutta. And I thought that I would go visit her before her 3-4 months was up, and I did. But before I went to visit her, I actually did, one of my passions is hiking. This is adventure hiking, so I did the Indian Himalayas up in Ladakh and Kashmir, up in Leh, and it was an incredible experience. The beauty, the people, it was just so marvelous. And that created for me an opportunity to get to know a little bit about India. I've been there, I don't know, 10 times, 11 times over the years. One of my other sidelines, I'm a very strong supporter of the Dalai Lama and the Tibetans because of my passion for hiking. One of the other places I went to was in Tibet, and it has so much to do with India that I'll mention in a moment. What I saw in 1990 when I went on this trek is the enslavement of a people, and that has created for me a passion that I've carried throughout life. So probably 4 or 5 of the times I've been to India has been for the Tibetans, principally in McLeod-Jung, but Dharamsala as it's called by the to help with that. But I've traveled, and I've been to Gujarat. I went to the fair that they have, the business fair that they have. I've met Mr. Modi 2 or 3 times. I have visited India from one corner to the other. One of my great, really crazy experiences, I went to the Pushkar fair in the desert, where, like thousands of camels, and it's just fascinating. But the most important component of my relationship with India is that I think the Italians and the Indians have to be first cousins. Their respect for family unity, their incredible work ethic, their respect for the communities, of each other. It's so very much like the Italian community. So when I go there, I always feel like I'm at home. And it was only a year ago that I was there, and I probably won't be many more than another year or two. But I have experienced India from the desert to Varanasi, from Calcutta to Leh, Mumbai, Gujarat, and all the places in between, north, south, east, and west. So I have, truth be known, I actually have an affection for the Indian people in a way that makes me feel very comfortable when I'm in India.
So let me ask you this: what you have here, is that from the Dalai Lama?
Yeah. Yes.
That is wonderful.
He gave it to me many years ago, and I won't take it off.
That is, and how many years ago was that?
Oh, 8, 10 years, I don't know,
wow.
something like
It
that.
looks really beautiful.
Yeah.
It's very lovely.
I first met the Dalai Lama in 1994.
Nice.
And I've had a relationship with that community actually a few years before, but certainly with him, and it's an honor and a privilege, but I do see him from time to time.
Well, thank you, Khan.
My pleasure.
Excellent. So something to look forward to for your next chapter after everything that you have done. Khan, thank you so much for joining us. Really appreciate all your advice, getting to know you, and your great story about coming as in this country as an immigrant to the success that continues today. So thank you so much.
My pleasure, and good luck to you.
Thank you. Thank you to my fashion stylist sponsor, Susie Tomasi. Her website is susieqjewels.com, and a portion of her sales proceeds goes to the women's shelter. And my makeup artist, Chanel Lucette. She can be reached at 905-299-4817.